Hey guys, Ambience here. Today I'm going to be showing you how to beat Ennard and get the fake ending in Five Nights at Freddy's sister location. I also quickly wanted to mention that I will be streaming live on YouTube this Friday, only 3 days from now. I'm going to be playing a few different games and talking about the channel's history, and about 2/3 of the stream is going to be FNaF, so if these guides help you, be sure to check into the stream at 3 p.m. Central Time on May 14th. Hope to see you there. Alright, without further ado, let's get into the guide. First of all, I want to clarify that I will not be talking about how to get the key card or how to beat Night 5. I've made separate guides for both of these situations, which are linked in the cards above. So, once you've gotten the key card, you're just going to play through Night 5 normally until you get ready to cross Funtime Auditorium for the second time. Instead of following Baby's instructions, just run forward and to the right at the same time. After a few seconds, you'll end up in the private room. Now, what a lot of newer players will do when they first get in here is start checking all the cameras trying to find Ennard. This isn't what you want to do at all, and this is going to cause you to run out of power. You're just going to wait until you hear Ennard move, which is usually about 40 seconds in. I'll play a few sound clips of Ennard moving real quick, just so everyone knows what they sound like. Alright, there's some examples of what it sounds like when Ennard moves. Keep in mind, that's not all of them, there's like 12 of these things, but they should be pretty recognizable. Once you hear Ennard move for the first time, you're going to start a new pattern. 8 seconds after you hear the sound cue, you're going to quickly pull up the camera and check to see where Ennard is. The reason for this is that Ennard can actually move silently and can sneak up on you sometimes. If you want to try to be more power efficient, you can try waiting until you hear Ennard move twice on the same side. This conserves more power and is great for green runs, but is more risky. I also wanted to talk about some of Ennard's movement patterns. The only cameras you're ever going to look at are Cam 1, 2, and 5. I'll be referring to Cam 1 and 2 as hallways, Cam 5 as the vent, Cam 3 and 4 as the closets, and Cam 6 and 7 as the back. When Ennard is toward the back of the vent, his next move will always be to the front of the vent. If you hear or see him enter the vent, just wait until you hear him move again, then close the vent door. Once you hear him move while the vent is closed, open it back up. As always, if you don't hear an audio cue for 8 seconds, check the camera just to make sure he hasn't moved. So that's about it for the vent, so let's move on to the rest of the rooms. If Ennard's in a hallway, he has 3 possible moves. He can go into the back, into the closet, or right up to the door. When Ennard's in a hallway, you should check the camera as soon as you hear a sound cue just to be sure he hasn't arrived at the door yet. If he has, shut the door immediately. Just like the vent, open the door back up as soon as you hear Ennard move. Maybe check the camera every 10 to 12 seconds to see if he left without making noise, but that's optional. If Ennard goes into the back, that's good for you. He can't move straight up to the door, he can only move around in the back and into one of the hallways. If he moves into the closet, however, his next move will always be straight up to the door. There's not really a way to know immediately whether Ennard retreated into the back or into the closet without wasting power. If you hear a sound cue anywhere else, though, then you know that he went into the back and left the area. So there we go, that's Ennard's movement patterns. The biggest thing that people seem to struggle with is running out of power, so I'll talk about that next. You should be using the camera very sparingly and never want to be on it for more than a second. This should strictly be used to check if Ennard has moved silently or if he's at the door after an audio cue. If possible, you never want to use the camera while a door is closed aside from checking if Ennard has left silently after 10 plus seconds. You should never, under any circumstances, have multiple doors closed. There's no reason for this, and it will kill a run really fast. Always open doors the second you hear Ennard move while one is closed. Before 4 a.m., don't close the door if you don't know for a fact that Ennard is there. If you're not sure, briefly check the cameras first. Now for some miscellaneous information. Throughout the night, you'll hear Baby speaking to you. This doesn't mean anything and only tries to throw you off. This does not signal that Ennard has moved or anything else important, it's simply to distract you. Pay no attention to it and only listen for Ennard's movement. This night lasts 9 minutes or 540 seconds, starting when the private room comes into view. This means that each hour lasts 1.5 minutes or 90 seconds. I highly recommend running a stopwatch during this night so that you can see how close you are to the next hour. This is especially important for 4 a.m. and 6 a.m. On average, you want to have 85% power at 1 a.m., 70% at 2 a.m., between 50 to 55% at 3 a.m., between 35 to 40% at 4 a.m., around 20% at 5 a.m., and obviously any power left at 6 a.m. will suffice. These aren't exact numbers, more so estimates, and if you fall under these numbers by a bit, you shouldn't panic. You can always try to make up for it later in the night, and you could definitely still win anyway. You may have noticed that I've mentioned 4 a.m. a few times throughout this guide, and there's a good reason for that. At 4 a.m., Baby's voice will be replaced by Elizabeth Afton's, and Ennard becomes more aggressive. From now on, I highly recommend closing the door on the side Ennard is currently at every time you check the monitor. If you raise the monitor while he's at the door, you're probably dead. You should also start checking the monitor if you haven't heard a sound every 6 seconds now instead of 8. Ennard seems to move silently more often from 4 a.m. onwards, so you've got to speed up a bit. If you have no idea where Ennard is, just raise the monitor as normal. It's not worth wasting power if you don't know which side he's on. That's really all I gotta say about this mode. Just stay calm and be patient. Once you understand how Ennard works and can stop yourself from wasting power, this becomes a breeze. I'll stay silent for now and turn up my volume so you can actually hear what I'm hearing and take note of how I respond. Enjoy the rest of the gameplay.
Isn't this why you came here? To be with her again? I don't understand.
Alright guys, so there you go. The private room is now complete. I did about 5 or 6 attempts of this last night and was able to win 3 of those. This mode really isn't that bad once you understand how Ennard works, how he moves, and you can stop yourself from using a ton of power. I haven't played the private room at all in 6 months before recording this, and I was still able to beat it about half the time or more. So yeah, it really isn't that bad once you understand all the mechanics and you're able to stop yourself from using up too much power. That was how I died the first 2 times, is I ended up using way too much power because I was getting anxious. But anyway, yeah, that's going to be all for now. Don't forget to check into the stream on Friday. Remember, 3 p.m. Central Time. It's going to be an absolute blast. I think it's going to be a ton of fun. Can't wait to see all you guys there. So anyway, with that being said, thank you guys for watching this guide. I hope it helped you, and I'll see you in the next one.